What's up guys, this is All Day Any Day 1 on the PS4 and I'm going to be giving you a build breakdown for Thor. So let's go ahead and look at his traits. So he gains an automatic 5% brutal strike chance. Strength and energy are both of his two main attributes. His primary resource is called Odin Force. Charge Mjolnir, I don't know how to pronounce his hammer, with Odin Force using specific powers such as Son of Odin. Odin Force can be spent to enhance certain powers with additional effects, and is required to activate most electric powers like Forked Lightning. Yggdrasil's Boon. I don't fucking know, man. Maximum health you gain is 1750. Defense rating multiplier and deflect rating multiplier are increased by 20%. Defense rating and deflect rating is increased by 600 for their base. Close quarters is you are given close quarters. When you hit with a melee power, damage reduction is you gain a 8% damage reduction for 3 seconds. So the abilities I'm using Hammer Strike on X, Thunderous Charge on L2 circle, Hammer Smash on circle, Ragnarok on L2 square, Asgardian Smite on square, Son of Odin on L2X, Crack the Sky on triangle, the Anti-Force on L2 triangle. So L2, the Anti-Force is going to be a signature. You're going to be able to do a ton of damage, 100% crit chance and 50% crit damage, and it also gives you your Odin Force. So the three abilities on your L2 slots, so triangle, square, and X, are going to be your Odin Force recharge abilities. So that's going to be the Anti-Force, Son of Odin, and Ragnarok. They're not necessarily going to be your damage dealers. I mean, they can still do a ton of damage, but you're not going to spam all three at the same time, because you want to use those when you need to recharge your Odin Force. Crack the Sky. This is a channeled ability. Well, you can use it as a channeled ability. It doesn't do damage over time or anything, but I mean, it still does nice like an AoE damage, because it hits multiple targets, 8 targets at a time, and it does 7996 to 11,994 damage if you're at 100% base damage. It also costs 121.6 Odin Force as well. You can either use that or bring the Thunder, so you can use one of these two. You generally, I mean, this one, it hits 8 enemies anywhere, so that's why I use that. It's also a 2 max charge too. So, oh yeah, it's not a what's it called, channeled ability, because of the max charges. Without that talent, it will become a channeled ability. Hammer Smash, it does slam Mjolnir into the ground, knocking it down enemies and make them vulnerable. So it makes enemies vulnerable. You do nice burst damage as well, 20,000 to 31,000 if you're at 100% base damage. The Odin Force effect is you do 9,044 to 13,565 electric damage and 2,110 twice per second, and it lasts for 4 seconds. The Odin Force cost for this is 243.1. You don't need Odin Force to use this ability, but you need Odin Force for the Odin Force effect. Asgardian Smite is going to be one of your main heavy hitters in your abilities, just because, I mean, you're gonna be flying in the air. I think you're invulnerable for that small second. But yeah, you're gonna be in the air and then you smash the ground with that. Ragnarok is your other Odin Force recharge. Hammer Strike has an Odin Force effect as well. It does not give you any Odin Force back, so no primary. It doesn't give you primary, but it still does nice damage. And what the Odin Force effect does is it does like a chain lightning effect. So it's a really good small AoE ability as well. So onto the talents, I went straight across on the bottom slot. Resounding Smite is going to be your main talent for the Asgardian Smite, because it increases its damage by 100%, so double its damage, increases the cooldown by 4 seconds. Melee power damage for the buff effects for all your buffs. You have to make sure you have the Odin Force though, so you get the Godly Smite, so it can trigger. Because when you use that, then you'll get the buff effect. The melee, for all your melee power damage is increased by 25% for 4 seconds. Godly Smite also does electric damage 18,531 to 27,797, and the Odin Force cost is 97.3. I did use building power for a little, but I mean, Asgardian Smite is just a better one overall, in my opinion. God Force is the one you want to use because you want generally you want to have for Asgard because it'll give you a bunch of buffs, but and it'll give you +5 to both your energy and your strength attributes. But with God Force, you don't need to use for Asgard. All you need is the anti-force, your signature, and the signature also has a 5-second less cooldown reduction, so it makes it even better. But for Asgard, those buffs also apply when you use this signature as well. So you most definitely want to have this. Stormcaller is the other one you want to have. So what it does is that it gives it 2 charges instead of making it a channeled ability whenever you have Odin Force. It's a 6-second cooldown. It becomes a ranged ability as well. So, Ragnarok becomes your ranged ability, which is nice. But Crack the Sky, it doesn't do more damage or anything. It's just it becomes a charged ability, or maxed, charged ability. It also triggers Godly Smite as well, so you get electric damage from that, and the Odin Force cost for that is increased by 97.3. Thor, King of Asgard. While you have any Odin Force, you become imbued, gaining the following effects. Base health is increased by 30%, defense rating multiplier and deflect rating multiplier increased by 15%. Health gained, for the health regen, whatever, you gain 0.5% of max health per second. And then Odin's Favor. Powers that regenerate Odin's Force have their cooldowns reduced by 2 seconds and deal 30% more damage. Max Odin Force you gain is 150. So this is really good as well, just because, I mean, you do 30% more damage with your signature. I mean, there's nothing better than that. I mean, Wrath of God, because what this does, this is a good one to have as well. All of your Godly Smite damage is increased by 100%, and all of the Godly Smite is also gains a 100% crit chance. So either one of these would be a really good choice. I wouldn't go with Berserker Rage, just because you're doing damage to yourself while doing a lot more damage out. But it's just a risky one to use. But Wrath of God is an incredibly good one to have, and Odin's Favor is also a really good one to have. So you can choose between those two with whatever you want to choose. So the synergies, the ones that are good and the ones that I would say are not good or just okay. So with Angela, that one's a good one to have because you have cooldown abilities. Ant-Man's is a good one to have for the strength. Beast, that's a good one for the melee. Black Panther is a good one for melee. Black Widow's a good one for melee. Blade is it's not bad. You don't necessarily need neither one of those. You don't need the health on hit or attack speed. Captain America's is okay. Captain Marvel's you don't need. Colossus you don't need. Well, hold on, let me check. Energy. Don't think any of this is energy. It's all electric. Yeah, so you don't need anything with energy. So no Captain Marvel. Colossus is a good one to have. Cyclops, Odin Force on enemy defeat might be a good one, but I don't know how much Odin Force you would get. So it's iffy. Daredevil's is a good one to get. Deadpool's might be for the health regen. Doctor Strange is no. Gambit's is a yes. Ghost Riders is a no. Hawkeye's is a definite yes for the crit damage. Hulk is a good one to have. Ice need Iron Fist maybe for health regen. Iron Man, you don't necessarily need it, but the range definitely helps still. Range damage. Range damage from Jean Grey's helps as well. Kitty Pryde's dodge and deflect helps. Luke Cage, his durability helps for everyone. Doesn't really matter if that's one of your attributes or not. Magic's, I mean, you don't necessarily need it. Moon Knight is okay. Nova's is okay. Psylocke you want to get for her melee because that's the highest melee synergy. Punisher's is pretty good for the ranged. Don't need rockets. Scarlet's is good for the damage over time. She-Hulk's is good for the health and health regen. Spider-Man's is not bad. It's pretty good. It's okay. Well, actually, you don't need dodge. You need deflect, so I wouldn't go with Spider-Man. Squirrel Girl is a definite good one. Star-Lord, you don't need to worry about really. Storm is, you want to have this for the electric. Thor's, you obviously want to have his as well. War Machine, you want to have at least the +1 fighting attribute. If not, then it's fine. Wolverine, you don't need. The Infinity Points, I put all 3 of my points into energy. The points that you can put yours in, if you don't have 25 points or if you don't want to spend your points on attributes, you can put it into potency, more damage to signature, strike through for more damage with brutal damage, crit damage, the mental focus, mind over matter for crit chance, restoration for the healing received, micro warps for the total defense, gravity well for the base health, or temporal loophole for the attack speed and movement speed. Now onto the gear. So my gear is mainly, yeah, it's all cosmic, mainly because I had about 30 or 40 shield supplies, and as soon as I hit level 60 I just opened all of them. Well, not all of them, I opened about 15 of them or 20 of them and just picked out whatever had the better stats, I suppose. But yeah, you don't necessarily need any cosmics at all. Just letting, that's a fact actually, you don't need any cosmics. It's just I put cosmics on. Doctor Doom's medallion is a good one to have, mainly because, well, Doctor Doom's and Shockers, I believe, or Electros. I think Electros. Don't remember which one of the two. But the reason why I say Doctor Doom's is good because, one, your signature itself is like a 20 or 25 second cooldown, so it's not too long. And you get +1 attribute to all your attributes for 15 seconds whenever you use a signature. So that means you only have 10 seconds to without having that extra attribute. So that's a good one to have. For the catalyst, this one actually helped me a lot. Don't worry about the cosmic ability or affix, the cosmic talent, whatever. The regen health is what you want to have, where it says regenerate 25% of your health up to 3,100 Odin Force when you use a med kit. You definitely want that. And then the mystical bonus, that one actually surprised me with how good that was. When your health drops below 20%, become invisible for 15 seconds, and it's a 15-second cooldown. So that one actually had helped me a lot more. If anything, you don't need to get that. I mean, it's your choice. It's a really good one to have. The other good one to have is when you use a med kit, you gain 5,000 health back. So those two are really good choices. Relic of Subterranea is a great one to have. Relic of Gibberim is a good one to use, and Relic of Asgard, and Relic of Xander. So those 4 are your really good options. Maybe Atlantis. I wouldn't really worry about it too much because I feel like you would need way more deflect anyways, to actually be able to negate more damage or send back more damage rather than sending back like 1 out of 10. So yeah, I for my artifacts I went with Cargill's Rewrites, Sacred White Gorilla Necklace, and Sharabis Neotum. So you can get Cargill's Rewrites from really anywhere, mainly the patrol that I've noticed from. Um, and the Sharabis Neotum you can also get from doing patrols as well. And the Sacred White Gorilla Necklace, you can get this from the Man Ape or whatever he's called in the patrol. Cargill's Rewrites, it gives you +1, 2, or 3 to all your attributes. That's the main reason why I use this. I don't necessarily use it for anything else. I mean, when you critically hit, you recover 5 Odin Force as well. But I mean, that 5 Odin Force isn't going to be as noticeable anyways, so it doesn't really matter. When you use your signature power, knock all nearby enemies back upon landing. Enemies are stunned for 1 second. After the stun ends, enemies suffer a rewrite, pulling them back in. 30-second cooldown. So what that means is, when you use your signature on the enemies, any nearby enemy will get pushed away, stunned, and then they will come back into the middle. They'll get pulled into the middle after their stun is ended. So it's not too bad. Sacred White Gorilla Necklace, 340 net crit hit rating, 2 melee powers, 553 defense rating, and when you critically hit, gain 5 strength for 5 seconds. So you are going to be doing melee a lot, so this would definitely help you out. And that defense rating always helps for the extra damage reduction. And being able to gain 5 strength for being able to crit for 5 seconds is even better. So yeah, Sharabis Neotum is a great artifact to have because you get both crit damage and brutal damage on it. You do get summon powers, you don't necessarily need it, but what's nice about this artifact is whenever you use a signature, you summon 6 Mayhem Demons for 30 seconds and it's a 5-minute cooldown. So you can generally use this about, well, you can only use it once, I believe, in your trials, because it's technically like an 8 to 9 minute trial. So yeah, let me see if I don't think I do. Nope. Anyways, so with my main attributes, I have 10 durability, 14 strength, 7 fighting, 7 speed, 11 energy, and 4 intelligence. So I'm pretty well balanced. It'd be better if I had higher strength and energy, but you know, those are still good where they're at. My average effective health is 38,441, 36% damage reduction. So you can definitely hit that. You can probably, with full purple gear, you can get to, I want to say about 30,000 health at the, about 30,000 health is where you can probably get to. And then damage reduction, I want to say about 30 to 35% is where you can hit. For your offensive stats, or for my offensive stats, I have 2010 crit hit rating and then 2362 melee crit hit rating. My crit damage is 3343, brutal strike is 1688, and brutal damage is 3491, and my base damage is 100%. So if you're in full purple gear, you'll be able to hit the crit hit rating, but it'll take a lot of crit hit rating probably, but you generally want to look for going to 1600 to 1800 and up crit hit rating and brutal strike rating. And then for your crit damage and brutal damage, you want to be from 2500 to 3000 brutal and crit damage, and higher. You can still you can hit these stats with full purple gear, but it would take a lot of minimaxing. The base damage, you get your base damage from increasing your main attributes. So if you can get those up, then you can hit the 100% or higher base damage. Oh yeah, so now, before I go on, for the legendary item, since I don't have one, The legendary item that I would go for is either I think it was called the Shield of Perseus for more like defensive stats, or the Savage Axe of Ares would be another really good one to have. Um, I think it's not Twilight. I think it was called the Twilight. Shoot, here, let me go back real quick. Savage Axe of Ares and Shield of Perseus are two good legendary items to get, depending on how you want to play. Um, Not Excalibur, no, no. Oh, Macron Crystal is a good one to have. So you get more Odin Force, more health, more damage. So it's like a balance between the Savage Axe of Ares and the Shield of Perseus. Because this is what Savage Axe of Ares does. It's 750 damage rating to melee powers, 1500 crit hit rating to movement powers, 2500 brutal damage rating, 1500 brutal strike rating, 8% chance when you hit to leave the enemy mortally wounded, dealing an 8000 bleed damage twice per second for 5 seconds, and it's an 8-second cooldown. Shield of Perseus gives you 4000 extra health, 2500 extra defense, 2500 extra deflect, 2500 extra dodge, and 10% chance when you are attacked by an enemy, you will do 20,000 physical damage to surrounding enemies. They will be turned to stone and will take 10% more damage for 5 seconds, and it's a 5-second cooldown. So these two are definitely really good ones to have. I mean, Twilight is also a good one to have, but you have to keep in mind you won't be able, the 4th and the 5th rank won't benefit you in trials if you do end up getting that high and not being able to complete trials yet. Ultimate Nullifier is a good one to have no matter what for every character. The only problem is you don't need the 5th rank for Thor, but 6000 extra brutal damage rating is always nice to have. And then what were the stats on you? Macron Crystal, 200 Odin Force, 3000 health, 600 damage rating, 1500 crit hit rating, 5% chance on hit to eliminate all enemies to white hot room, and it's a 1-minute cooldown. Pretty sure that means you're gonna one shot, but if it is one shot, then I don't think that'll work in the cosmic or trials. But anyways, yeah, I would go with one of these two abilities or legendary items: Savage Axe of Ares and Shield of Perseus. I'll go ahead and show you guys how the abilities look real quick as well. So this is just the X ability. And then this is square. And then you have circle. And then you got triangle, which is a nice AoE right there. And then all three of these, L2X, L2 square, and L2 triangle, are all three of your Odin Force recharges. So L2X, this is what that does. L2 square, and L2 triangle. So what you would normally do is, what I normally do when I have a full Odin bar, I would jump and smash with square, then you circle, then triangle and triangle, and then just melee for a bit, use L2X, and then you'd have all this back again, and just keep doing that, and then L2 square, and then just keep pressing X, and then L2 triangle. So generally, honestly, you'll have you'll have two or one or two of your reinforced recharge abilities off of cooldown, and one of them on cooldown, one or two of them on cooldown. And yeah, so you don't want to use all three of them at the same time, although they will do massive damage if you use all three, but that'll kind of cripple you because you won't be able to use like the godly smite or whatever it's called, the extra damage. So yeah, If this build helped you out at all, go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe, message me, whatever you feel, or don't have to do any of that at all. Um, but yeah, if you have any builds in like for Thor, go ahead and put it down in the comment section, or just to help out other players as well that are looking for other viable builds for Cosmic. Um, and yeah, so this is all day any day one on the PS4. Or wait, also before I forget, make sure when you do use any of these builds that I make sure you test them out in patrols, the training room, operations, or you can even just practice in the cosmic trials, whatever, to because you're gonna want to get a good feel of it and stuff. And yeah, so don't just expect to be able to beat it the first time if you've been struggling for a bit. But you still could beat it the first time. You never know. It really just depends on how you play as well. Make sure you don't stand in the red, and don't get hit by Mandarin's fire, and don't get hit by Red Skull's grenade, and you'll be good. So this is all day and day one on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.